Hey, James, last year, collectively, you guys as a defense did a pretty good job of stopping Christian McCaffrey. What sort of was the focus of that week, and how did you go about limiting him to under 100 yards?
Yeah, I think, just focusing on our box play and just locking down the box. Obviously, he's a guy that kind of wants to get on the edge and use his speed. So containing him in the box and, playing well against that run game.
Have you watched any of his film this year? And, obviously he hasn't been as effective in the last couple of games. Can you notice any difference there of what teams are maybe doing to consistently keep him from gaining yards?
Just like I said, just trying to keep him in the box. Again, he's trying to get outside, stretch the field. Once he gets in an open field, he's tough to take down and really contain. So whatever we can do to, keep him as confined as possible.
And obviously his status is up in the air for this game, but you guys are preparing, expecting him to play?
Yeah, obviously preparing. I bet, a lot of the guys don't even really know. So just continuing our preparation.
Thanks.
James, obviously, last week's game is a hard one to evaluate, but in terms of confidence for the defense, how much of the last 6 quarters do you feel really kind of boosted the younger guys in particular into kind of believing that you guys are on the right track?
Yeah, I think it's, a great confidence booster for them, especially in a game where it's pretty much defense versus defense, and who's going to hold up longer in that game. It's really all field position and defense. So, I think our guys played well, and hopefully keep it rolling into the next week.
How much is that needed? Was that needed at this point in the season for you guys, just to have that feeling of knowing, okay, we can do this? I know you guys believe it, but having that evidence, how important is that for a defense?
Yeah, I think it's huge, especially like you said, for those younger guys. I knew it would come, and everybody has their time. That might take a couple games, might take a whole year for some guys just to really realize their ability and that they're here for a reason. So for it to click for some of the guys so soon, I think is great. And like I said, I'm excited to see what they do in the next week.
You guys are 2-4, obviously not where you wanted to be, where you expected to be. What do you feel is the goal now for this team for the second half of the season?
For me, it's just every week. Every week is a new goal. Beating the team that we have, the opponent that we have each week. This week's beating Stanford, and that will be a huge accomplishment for our team. And wiping out all the past. Like I said, every week is going to be, my main focus, and that's really all you can focus on. So,
on the big picture side, how important is it for you guys to get to a bowl game?
Yeah, big picture. Obviously, that's a goal and a standard that's been set here. But like I just said, I'm just focused on keeping the guys, locked in to our opponent for the week and trying to pull out as many wins as possible.
Fans see Coach Kelly on the sidelines. They see him interacting with players, and they get the opinion that they get. A lot of times they don't see the locker room stuff that Fighting Irish Media showed this week, showing his compassion towards you guys, saying that he's got to put it more on himself. When he gives you guys that message in the locker room, how important is that as a team to hear that from your coach?
Yeah, it's important, and it's just a reminder that we're all in it together, and we're working towards the same goals, and he's a 2-4 coach as well. So, like I said, we're all in this together, and a lot of the fans can see what he does on the sideline as negative, but it's high stress, especially in the situation we're in now, and everybody wants to win, and everybody wants to get it right. So it's obviously his job as the head man to be the enforcer of that. So.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Just kind of following up on that. There is a perception, I guess, that Coach Kelly blames players when things aren't going right. How do you react, to that, and especially in those moments?
Yeah, that's tough. You never really. Obviously, some guys don't perform in every game, and it's tough at this level. obviously don't love seeing that from a head coach, but sometimes it's necessary, I guess.
James, Tori was up here talking about how the practice routine maybe hadn't changed a lot, but BK was trying to put you guys in some different situations to emphasize finishing and sort of like closing out games. Has the defense done anything differently? Did you jump into a 2-minute drill this week? How has the routine changed? If at all?
Yeah, so once Coach Hudson stepped on, Isaac and I spent some time with the coaches just to, try to think about how we could switch up practices, just so it wasn't so routine. And some of the things that we've switched up is just having an emphasis on a couple different areas. Third down being one of those. So instead of waiting till Wednesday or Thursday to really work on third down, we now start that off on Tuesday. So guys have to come ready for practice, starting day one, and early in the practice as well. So that's one of the changes. There's some other minor changes that we've made, but just switching it up so it's not so routine, and guys have something to look forward to within a practice.
I can't remember which player mentioned this, but he said that when the ones go and then the twos come in, maybe you don't run the same plays in the same order again, so it's a little bit more, I guess, mindful.
Yeah.
Is that one of the changes?
Yeah, that's one of the changes as well. When the twos would pretty much watch our reps and then come in and imitate what we were doing, which isn't as beneficial as giving them a new look and giving them as real a football as possible. So giving them different looks and also keeping us engaged on the sideline. For Jameer Jones, doing a lot of great things. He's getting in there playing some real football and getting some real reps. And I can be on the sideline getting those mental reps as well, but also being able to give him some advice or correct him during practice. So.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you were a two when Van Gorder was here, but when the reps are the same, when it's the same play and you're a younger guy taking the twos, do you sort of okay, just imitate was probably a good word that you use. You're not thinking about it, you're just I want to do what the last guy did.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times you see even if the first string guy makes the mistake, the second string guy will make that same mistake even after watching it. I think it is good to switch it up and, like I said, keeps the sideline involved and also keeps, the second string primed up and ready to go.
Thanks.
James, I think you're on a special teams unit or two. Do guys like doing that? Can you kind of explain the mentality of playing special teams and maybe why you guys are struggling on some of those?
Yeah, well, I've always been a special teams guy. I've always loved special teams, and unfortunately I haven't been able to be on as many teams this year just because of my volume on defense. But I think guys like it just because of the freedom of it. Yeah. It's one play to go all in and, to make an impact on field position and, give the other team an idea of what the identity of our team is. So for me, it's always fun. We just need to continue to build that importance. That's the third aspect of our team: offense, defense, and special teams. So continuing to push that and practice that hard is important, especially in the younger guys.
Yeah, are you guys practicing that a little differently? I think Coach said that maybe you changed some things up the way you practice it, the tackling, and that has that changed this season?
There's been a lot of little minor changes, and special teams is one of them. Just being more physical at the end of the play. A lot of times, we have certain reps that save our legs, but we also have certain reps that give us a good look, and our scout guys do a great job of giving us a good look on all of those special teams.
James, some players mentioned last week that you guys now are meeting more often in units rather than meeting as defense in the whole. And Coach mentioned yesterday that he's up in the tower more so he can watch both the offense and defense. Just wondering, are there any other subtle changes that have been made since Coach Van Gorder left that, even small things that you think have kind of helped out things?
Yeah, like you said, the private meetings, the more, linebackers are meeting together. Then also just the change up in practice, like I was talking about earlier, keeps guys involved and, makes them stay on their toes throughout the whole practice because you never really know what's coming. It's not as, step by step as it used to be. I'm trying to really think. There's some other changes, but I think those are two of the biggest ones that have really made an impact so far.
And the meeting by units, is it just that you can focus more on what your particular position maybe you need to work more on as opposed to looking at the defense as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more efficient on focusing in on, each individual position. Before, I think both ways have their benefits. When you're in a whole group, the linebackers are learning about the D-line and the DBs and are able to keep them accountable, which is important. But at the same time, you need to have more specific and focused look at your specific position. So I think there's a benefit of both, and we've continued to do both. But yeah, the more focused meetings have helped, I think.
Thank you.